In this episode, we're going to take the RSI indicator you developed in the last episode and make it super advanced. Check it out. There's a few things you need in order to complete this episode. First, you need to have completed the RSI episode that came previous to this. This will show you how to set up the RSI indicator and get the values from MetaTrader 5. Secondly, you really need a working MetaTrader 5 terminal to allow you to test this amazing little indicator you're about to upgrade. In the previous episode, I showed you how to create your own RSI indicator, which is pretty cool. But you probably noticed a couple of weird and annoying little things about it as you were building it. First, you can't really change the RSI period, which means that if you want to look at the 7 RSI or the 21 RSI or basically anything other than the default 14 RSI, you're going to have a problem. And secondly, you probably noticed that the value was bouncing around on the indicator quite a lot. And that's because we're using the last value of the RSI or the current close. So what we're going to be doing in this episode is I'm going to show you how to update your RSI so that it's far more flexible and useful for you. Now I'm just going to show you how to get the last candlestick close, but you can expand this function to get whatever you'd like to do. So here's how we go about doing it. Here you can see the original RSI value that we're talking about, the original RSI function. And the two things that we want to change is this one here, the 14, which is the RSI period. And here we want this 1 to be updated so that we're able to get something that's a little bit different from the most current close value. So here's how we go about doing that. Firstly, we're going to head up to the top and add in the first two inputs for our trading bot. Super exciting moment. So input an integer, which is going to be the RSI period, okay, which is going to be equal to 14. And because we always include comments in our code, and this will really help when you're looking at your input parameters, that's going to be that. And then we're going to input our boolean for latest RSI, okay, which is going to be true by default. Then we're going to go down and update our RSI function with a couple of different things. The easiest one is going to be this one here, which we're just going to replace with the RSI period. Okay, but then what we really want to do is update this returning of the RSI value a little bit here. So if latest RSI equals true, okay, then we want to copy two values out of the buffer. So to do that, we go in RSI count is equal to copy buffer 2, okay, else copy 1. Now in theory we could just copy 2, but this is for completion. And by the way, if you wanted to go ahead and get like 50 RSI values for some reason, maybe you want to smooth it, then you can just change this to be whatever size of the buffer that you'd like it to be. The buffer basically being the place where it stores all of the values of the RSI that your MetaTrader terminal has. So we'll get rid of this now. We go ahead and check if the buffer failed, which will return 0. Okay. Oops. Sorry, I'll get rid of these ints because we've already declared that value before. Here. Okay, so the reason why that'll fail is because if that's 0 and it has 0, that means that nothing happened to the buffer. Okay, now we're going to have another if statement. So if latest RSI is equal to true, then we actually want the second most recent value of the RSI, which will be the previous candle close, and then we'll return that value. Or if it's not true, then we do want the most recent one. Okay, let's just save that and compile it. Okay, no issues with the compiling there. RSI trading bot tutorial. Okay, now what's interesting is you should see two inputs here. So 14 and true. Let's see what happens there. See you soon.